Okay, let's get into this. How much do the people, the ones around us, really shape who we become?
Right, it's a huge question. Not just, like, habits, but your core beliefs about yourself.
Exactly. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into that using some really interesting source material. It's excerpts from The Crucible of Influence, Mike Tyson's formative relationships.
And this stuff pulls a lot from Mark Kriegel's book, Baddest Man. It really hammers home this idea that our lives, choices, direction, even how we see ourselves, it's all deeply molded by our connections.
Family, friends, mentors.
Yeah, it's all of it, the whole network.
So our mission here, really, is to unpack how these key people in Tyson's life, some incredibly positive, others, well, really destructive, how they played such a central role in his success, his image, and, yeah, his downfall, too. The sources lay it out as a powerful example.
Absolutely. We're going to trace the path these sources map out, starting with his really unstable youth, then the guidance he found with Cus D'Amato, and then looking at the mix of influences later on.
Okay, so the material kicks off painting this picture of young Tyson in Brooklyn. Pretty turbulent environment described in the sources.
Yeah, constant fear, abandonment, just raw survival mode. That's what the sources emphasize. It wasn't just background noise, it was like his primary education.
Shaping this defensive, kind of volatile base.
And what's really striking is how the sources talk about the lack of positive structure. The streets weren't just a location, they became this teacher.
Teaching what, exactly? According to the material.
Well, aggression, basically. That intimidation was the way. Maybe the only way to feel safe, to have any control. It shows how those early negative influences, even just the environment, leave these deep marks, a harsh view of the world.
But then, the sources bring in Cus D'Amato. Big turning point.
Huge. Yeah, the legendary boxing trainer. But the material presents him as way more than just a coach, almost like a legal guardian stepping right in, a totally different kind of influence.
So what did D'Amato actually do, according to these excerpts?
Well, it wasn't just boxing skills, though obviously that too. He gave Tyson a vision, belief, told him he could be great when maybe nobody else saw it.
Okay.
The sources detail how D'Amato specifically taught him about fear, understanding it, managing it, even using it. It was a whole mental framework, not just physical training.
Giving him purpose, a way to channel that.
Yeah.
That earlier aggression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Channel it into something focused, powerful. The material really credits this mentorship as the key factor in him becoming the youngest heavyweight champ. Shows how one dedicated person can totally change a life's direction.
But the sources don't just paint D'Amato as a simple hero, right? There's complexity there, too.
No, definitely not. They mentioned his controlling side, maybe building Tyson partly for his own legacy, And critically, after D'Amato was gone and Tyson hit massive fame, everything changed again. Different influences rushed in.
Right, the fame factor. How did that change the influences around him, based on the sources?
Well, the sources describe the new people as being less interested in Tyson the person and more in the Tyson empire. Managers, promoters, opportunists, really.
Yeah.
And the material details how they often encourage the bad stuff, reckless spending, drugs, erratic behavior. It created what the source calls a toxic ecosystem.
So, genuine relationships faded.
Right.
Replaced by transactional ones.
Pretty much. Relationships that just validated destructive habits. It really shows how the wrong crowd, especially with fame and money swirling around, can be just incredibly corrosive.
It brings us right back to that core idea the sources keep highlighting. The people closest to us are shaping us, actively, sometimes in ways we don't even see happening.
Exactly. The main takeaway again and again in these excerpts is that our environment, the people in it, they don't just affect what we do, they affect who we think we are, what we think is possible.
Tyson's story, as told here, becomes this really potent cautionary tale about what happens when that positive connection isn't there or gets drowned out.
Yeah, it makes a strong case for being really aware of who you let influence you, positively and negatively. They're shaping more than just your day-to-day, they're shaping your identity, your future.
So, based on this deep dive into the source material, here's something to maybe chew on. If the people right next to us have that much power in shaping who we are and where we're going, what did that make you think about, the key relationships in your own life right now?